The Lord be with you. Let us pray. Gracious God, our times are in your hands. We thank you for every day of every year, for each morning that you wake us up, for each evening that you provide rest. We thank you for this year that has passed, for the challenges and opportunities and joys that you have given each one of us in this community, and in particular for the joy that you have given us to be together. Help us in the years to come to continue on that path of joy and wonder at all your works. In your Son, Jesus Christ's most holy name we pray. Amen. Amen. So my Apple device is telling me that it's 9:01, which means we should get started. Y'all come on in and get something to eat and a chair. There's a few more chairs still over here. So my plan for this morning is to talk some. I can talk a lot, but I'm going to try and talk some. And then I've got some time for questions at the end. Questions I may have answers to, questions I may not have answers to, but hey, try me. We'll see how it goes. 15 months or so, give or take, I was interviewing with the search committee, and I was asked to describe my 5 to 10 year vision for Christ Church. And my answer went a little something like this. I have no 5 to 10 year vision for Christ Church. I have read the profile, I've perused the website, and I've met 12 members of this committee. And that is not enough for me to build a vision on. Any vision I give you at this point would be a generic shot in the dark and not really authentic to who I am or to who you are. After that particular interview, I called my mentor and I said, I'm pretty sure I just talked myself out of a job. But somehow I hoodwinked the committee and here we are. Here we are. You all are still keeping me around. I have since followed up that statement about vision and authenticity. I did this with the search committee and also to the vestry. With the idea that I needed to spend, and I believe the community needed to spend as well, a year at least, but a year, learning who we are, you all and me, and learning who we are together, getting to know what is important and what's vital. Sometimes they're slightly different. I got to know where the bodies are buried, where the landmines are in this place. And only after a year like that, after a year of careful, thoughtful, prayerful observation, can we begin a process of visioning then together. And so I've spent this last year observing, not passive observing, but observing, watching, listening, sometimes just trying to keep my head above water while I learn the language. I've spent a lot of time in the last year having some of you say to me, "You're the rector, do something." And I want to be clear that I have been doing a lot of somethings, but I've also been doing a lot of watching, which can look like I'm being a bystander, but please know I have not been. I hope that you all who've offered me that advice to do something, say something, be the rector, have understood that I am learning how to be a member of a community that pre-exists me by over 200 years. And that takes a little bit of time. Not 200 years, but it takes some time. This investment of time that I've put in, that we have put in, while it may seem flagrant to a community that has been in this limbo of an interim for a while, is, I think, an investment in our future together. If I knew that I was a priest in charge with a limited term, that I was only going to be here 18 months, 2 years maybe, I could come in and clean house. I could name all the problems that I see in the first week, not really bother to figure out the depth of them, and just fix them, bop heads. We could do that. It would be easy in some ways because I wouldn't be concerned with building and maintaining relationships. It wouldn't matter if we were building this thing together because I would be leaving. But so far as I hope and believe, this is not the case, unless you know something I don't know. Building and maintaining relationships are the bread and butter of ministry together. I am investing time in getting to know who and how we are so that we can serve together for a decade or more, if that is what the Spirit asks of us. So, I'm going to spend a little time this morning sharing with you some of my observations and some of my vision for our congregation. Now, I remind you that observations are from one perspective, mine, and that they come loaded with my own understandings of church life and church process. You might have observations that are different than mine, and you might have drawn different conclusions from the ones I'm drawing. I welcome your feedback, and I welcome your candor. I also want to remind you that a vision is different from an action plan. My vision is for the long-term health of our beloved congregation and for our continued drawing closer to the kingdom of God. How we make all these things happen is up to us. The step-by-step instructions are not going to be here. I only have about 40 minutes. So that is something that we do together. A community like ours requires the imagination of everyone in it in order to make real our ideas for the future. Okay, so here we go. I'll start with the hard one first. The parish profile I read 18 months ago, in order to learn more about you before I decided to apply for this position, presented a financial picture of our parish that showed some decline in giving in recent years, which was totally on trend with the rest of the country, but an overall balanced budget at the end of each fiscal year. Over the last year, I've come to learn that isn't quite an accurate picture. We have outspent our income for the last several years, relying on changes in staffing, relying on our reserve fund to cover the difference. So while we technically have not accumulated any debt in the last 3 to 4 years, we've also not been living into the reality that we are a parish living outside its means. That's a hard reality to face. 2017 is no exception. The Vestry and Finance Committee passed a deficit budget at the end of last year on the hopes that pledges would continue to come in, even beyond the time of the passing of the budget. They didn't. And so we will be covering our debt yet again through a staffing change that happened back in January. For years, decades, generations maybe even, Christ Church was one of those churches that seemed, both to the parishioners inside and to the wider community outside, to be printing money in the basement. We appeared to have limitless resources for these amazing ministries we were called into. We're no longer exactly that church, and we need to figure out together how to live into this new reality. Like any household that is trying to maintain a balanced budget, we have two options for getting back in the black. We can reduce our expenses, or we can increase our income. It's not super high math, which is good because my degree's in theology. I've had a number of people come to me in recent months with these wonderful, worthy, exciting proposals for projects and ministries that would expand our reach, that would be assets to our programmatic load, that each one came with a price tag. And I have had to be the bearer of the bad news that while I want people to dream big, we don't have any dream funding right now. There is no extra. That's kind of a gut shot for me. On top of this, we are not expressing our parish values for justice for all through the salaries that we pay our staff. Many of our staff, particularly our support staff, are working difficult jobs with long hours, but they're not making a living wage. This becomes not only a budgetary issue, but a human rights issue. Having said all this, our parish is, on the whole, generous upon generous. We have a healthy record of the number of pledges we receive as compared to our Sunday attendance, which is one of the metrics we tend to look at, those of us who count stewardship numbers, that is a good number that we've got. We are incredibly lucky in this day and age when churches are closing their doors due to complete lack of funding, due to community collapse, due to lack of interest in the congregation. These are not our problems, and that is something to celebrate. But we have to change our narrative if we're going to grow. My vision for this arena includes an increased participation across the board in all areas of giving. From our annual pledge campaign, which this year will run the length of October, the results of which set the annual budget, which will be a balanced budget this year. You heard those words come out of my mouth. To our foundation, whose legacy provides ongoing maintenance to the buildings that hold the ministries that we hold so dear. Episcopalians are traditionally not terribly good at talking about money, but we've got to get more comfortable about it around here. It is only yet one more expression of God's goodness towards us. We need to find ways to release more of what God has given us back to the work of God. In addition to increased participation in giving, we can support our parish with increased participation with our talents. Do you wish we had a better children's program? Then partner up and build a better children's program. Do you wish outreach got more attention? Me too. Evangelize among your friends. Get more volunteers. Do you wish there were more people setting up and cleaning up for our events? Jump on in and help. I can show you personally how to stack chairs. As we move out of the days when big churches were always flush with cash, we need to move more fully into a new day where the church staff is here to help lift the vision of the parish, but the people of the parish are continuing even more than ever to act out the vision. We can move out of a mindset where our programs are limited by money and into a mindset where our programs are limited by the imagination and the energy of the people, which is to say, they're unlimited. What an amazing place to be. But we have a narrative shift to make. We have to balance that. My next observation. My second observation is with regards to our programs for formation. Matt Welsh and Santiago Rodriguez, under Heather Van Devender's leadership, have been working magic on our youth and children's programming. Those programs are blossoming under their leadership. Our kids are learning how to navigate and negotiate the brokenness in our world with tools they are gaining from our children's programming, which includes Bible study, crafts, music, guests, field trips, explorations. There's still work to be done. They're children's programs, which means there's always work to be done because there's always research coming out about how children learn, what they should be learning, and how we can do it best. So that work will never, ever end. But I have so much confidence in these staff doing this work and on the volunteers that are turning those great plans into reality. Our adult formation programs, as I have experienced them, have a lot of room for growth. Adult mainline Christians have this belief trend that goes a little like this. I went to Sunday school as a child. Formation time is time for my kid to go to Sunday school and for me to have coffee with my friends. And then those of us in leadership create programs accordingly, assuming that attendance will be low and few will be interested. That is a sad state of affairs. I am deeply personally passionate about the continued formation of the adult Christian. This has been true my whole career. We lose out on so much opportunity to grow and know God if we go to brunch right after church instead of coming and figuring out what it is that we can learn together. But I also think that in order for adults to be drawn into formation, we need to provide programs that are attractive and interesting and meaningful and move us toward a greater understanding of ourselves and of our place in God's world. And I think here at Christ Church, we could be more consistent in our offerings. In my estimation, it also means that we need to provide options for adults on Sundays. The single Sunday forum model is reasonable from time to time when we all need to come together, when there's something specific and special we can learn on a day. But if the single forum is the only option all the time, we're going to lose half the people not interested in whatever single topic we are addressing. We have a blessing of space here. Big, empty, abundant space, begging to be filled with Bible studies and lectures and topic explorations. We need people willing to both lead these groups and people that will commit to continually being formed in faith by attending these groups. With little to no financial investment, see point 1, Christ Church could become known as a leader in adult Christian faith formation. We have the smarts to do this in this parish. And we need to have also the creativity and the interest to make it happen. In the short term, as we figure out how to live out that vision, our adult formation is going to be filled with our year-long program called Practicing Truth, Race, Our Church, and the Community. Following the lead of the Episcopal Church and our bishops in this diocese, we will be studying and talking and listening and learning about who we have been as a community, who we are now, and how we can shape who we want to be in the future in terms of racism, race relations, and our baptismal calling. We will occasionally be offering alternative options on Sunday mornings for those who aren't interested in joining this particular community study, but it is my hope that most of us will be ready to participate in some way, to open hearts and minds to information and self-realization for the benefit of our community and the kingdom of God. It is also my hope that our work in this arena over the next year and whatever work we choose to do in the future in the arenas of formation will help get us off our block, this block right here, and out into the surrounding city of Alexandria, to continue to strengthen both the works and the relationships already begun by Melanie Gray and her phenomenal team of volunteers in outreach and mission. In addition to better understanding the needs of those whom we serve, our formation exploration can help us be present to our brothers and sisters at Meade Memorial, with whom we have a painful and fractured history. We're not called to be a church that lives inside a building, no matter how beautiful or historic that building is. We are called to be in right relationship everywhere and with everyone we encounter, which means that sometimes we need to leave these gates and take church with us. It's not work that's going to be started and finished in a year. In truth, it will likely never be finished. But committing ourselves to the exploration of it is an enormous piece of the work that needs to be done in erasing the scourge of racism that surrounds us. My third observation is about fellowship and community building. I'm talking really fast, but it's going a lot quicker than I thought it would. Maybe I will slow down. What? Yeah, more time for questions. I'm really going to slow down. Great. Slow down. I'll take a bathroom break. I'll be back now. My third observation is about fellowship and community building. I spent time at the Hospitality Committee's barbecue a week ago. It was so much fun. And it reminded me that in the paraphrased words of Psalm 133, it is a good and pleasant thing for the people to dwell together in unity. We spend so much holy time here at Christ Church discerning how to pay attention to all of our various constituencies, wondering if the young families will like the latest formation program, or if our senior members have enough support, or if our out and about members are getting what they need to feel welcome among us. We think hard about each of our representative groups, who they are, and how they will best be served in our community. And it was a joy to come together last week and just be together, eating delicious food created by talented members of our community, beautifully planned and arranged by other thoughtful saints in our midst. The auditorium was full of people over 65 and under 2 and everyone in between, visiting with each other, passing the babies around, sharing the good news. It was a lovely vision of God at play. I know many of you were there, and I'm sorry for the ones that weren't, because you missed a great party. There are good reasons for us to continue to address the needs of all of our different demographics. We will not stop doing that. We are a big community made of smaller communities. We will continue to work hard to find places where everyone will feel safe and challenged and uplifted by the work of the gospel. But my vision for this place is that we will continue to also find opportunities to just be together. Shrinemont only happens once a year, and there's not space for every single person to go. How do we recreate that feeling from time to time here on this block? Not to raise money, not even to learn or to pray, just to enjoy the abundant love that is so present in this place. What a gift we have to share with one another and with anyone who comes in. So in addition to our monthly breakfasts, we are looking forward to monthly dinners. One Wednesday night a month, we are going to be together to relax in each other's company, to break bread, to share the news, to pass the babies. I think we will find our community strengthened in this way. I think we will find our affection for one another grows and spills out into the surrounding city. And I think that we will, over time, find our church feel revitalized and even more prepared for the work that we have to do. Being together is so important, and we need to not lose sight of that. So that was point 3. Finally, I'm just going to take a little point of privilege here at the end. There was this, I think right in the beginning, I have a theory maybe, right in the beginning when I first got here, the word was spread that we needed to leave the new rector alone so let her get settled in, make sure we didn't bother her too much. And somehow that idea that we need to leave the new rector alone has kind of become a monster of itself. Because it's funny, I'm hearing through different channels that people don't want to bother me or that I may not have time. That's the one that I hear, well, Noelle doesn't have time. I have time. I am a busy woman. I have a lot going on, and the most important thing that I can do on any given day is to meet with you if you have something that you want to talk with me about, or if you just want to have a cup of coffee with me. And the answer to the next question is, who do I call to make an appointment? You call me, or email me. That's probably even more efficient in my world. I am interested in talking with you and meeting with you. I'm interested in coming to your group if I have not yet. It's not. It's more oversight than it is ignoring you. So if I haven't come to see the project that you're working on, if I haven't come to the group that you lead or that you're a part of, if you would like to have coffee with me or sit in my office and talk about something that's on your heart, my door is actually physically open if I am inside. So you can do it that way, or you can call or email me. It is the most important thing I do with my day. If I wanted to not meet with people all day long, I would have been something like a computer programmer. I am a priest. This is ministry, conversation, face-to-face is what I do. And I'll take it one step further and say, if you know of someone in the parish that you think may be feeling neglected or left out, or someone who is shut in and can't come see me, please tell me. From this point forward, if there is somebody who's feeling that, I probably don't know about it, or I would have tried to remedy it by now. So please let me know. I might not be able to get to you in the next 24 hours, but I will do my best to find some time to be with you together in the next week or 2. Okay? Thank you. That, I believe that's everything I have. Do people have questions for me?
Noelle,
Yes.
on behalf of all the church not always agree, but lead, follow, make things happen.
Thank you, Willie. Appreciate it. Yes, Ginger.
How do you personally feel about this year?
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, so how do I personally feel about this year? This has been a hard year. It has been a hard year for a few different reasons. I mean, you all know that my family lived in another state until June, and that was as hard as we thought it would be, which is pretty darn hard. So just the logistics of the back and forth were confusing and complicated, and not knowing which house I'm waking up in. That was hard. In addition, I moved to the center of the political world of our country at a time when all heck has broken loose. I think that's true no matter which side of the political divide, which seems to be keep getting wider, no matter what side you're on, it has been a politically bananas year. And so in addition to kind of negotiating the way of being in a new parish, I'm also kind of negotiating how to talk and live in this world in this new way. So those two things have made it there have been some tension in the world, in my world. So it's been a hard year, but there have been a lot of, this sounds like fluff, but this is actually something I mean in my world, that these challenges have been opportunities for me to try and think about things in a new way, to try and build new neurological paths for myself. And so I've actually appreciated that. There has been a little bit of, Rawls Jones said about the crucible, a little of that going on. But one of the things that felt really good for me personally is that hasn't really been a point in the last 11 months and 25 days when I've thought, what have I done? Like, why did I do this? I can't make this happen. Somebody come pack my bags. Like, there was no point when I thought it was. And I've had some moments of unbridled joy as well. So it's some high points. Christmas around here was stunning. I mean, it was beautiful. It was one of those times when I was both the pageant and the whole myriad of Christmas Eve and Christmas, well, I wasn't here Christmas Day, but Christmas Eve services that we had. I had moments where I thought, oh yeah, I'm coming home here. This feels wonderful. So Christmas was wonderful. Many of the staff meetings that we've had where the whole staff comes together and we're either learning together, sometimes we are just having fun and blowing off steam together. The staff is a wonderful group of people to work with. I really enjoyed, and I will admit, more than I thought I would, I really enjoyed those get-to-know-you parties that we had in October and November. I had a blast. And I still will have conversations with some of you where we'll go, oh, and remember we were at that party back in November? And I enjoyed those so much. It was fun to be in people's homes. So those are some of my highlights. Other questions? Really? That you're just going to take this and run with it? Sweet.
What are the kids and your husband up to?
They are currently, I hope they are in the car on the way to church. We'll see. The kids will start school not soon enough, 2 days after Labor Day. So my children in Atlanta, they got out of school on June 1st. This is the longest summer of our lives. God love them. So we've had some great opportunities of getting to know some kids in our neighborhood and in our parish. And also, I mean, you all know my kids don't have companions yet. So they are at almost 11 and 8 years old. They are each other's only friend right now. No one has died yet. But they are actively not killing each other. And my husband will be teaching just a small number of classes at George Mason in the fall. So yeah, we're hoping to build that relationship some. And I'm grateful for everyone who's been keeping their eyeballs peeled. It's been good for him to get to do that. Yeah.
How has, you were
an assistant rector in
Yes.
Atlanta.
And now you're a rector. How has that changed you, and what does that require of you to lead a church?
That's a great question. So the position I had at my old church was parallel to what Ann does here. So you all have seen Ann in action, right? And we all know that Ann, I would say this if she was sitting in this room, that Ann could go run her own church tomorrow without missing a beat. So in a lot of ways, that's exactly kind of what I did. And it is a new feeling for me when, so this is the change on it. So the understanding of large church work, the understanding of how communities work and how to build a committee and how to lead a vestry meeting, and I've done all those things. I know how to do those things, and for the most part, I think I got them down. The change was actually more sort of intellectual, emotional for me. It was things like when a big decision came across my desk early in my time here, not being able to turn and go, hey, what should I do about this? Oh, wait. I was joking, actually, in a weird twist of events, my mentor from Atlanta also moved up to DC 2-3 months before I did. So I interface with him a lot, which is really helpful. But I called him after my first week and I said, I couldn't figure out why people kept looking at me and asking me questions. And then I realized it's because I'm the rector. So there was some of that it was just kind of, oh, right, this is me. Yeah. And once I got over that, I kind of reminded myself that actually I do know how to do these things. So I joked earlier about people saying, you're the rector, do something. Some of it was a little bit related to that of like, well, what am I supposed to do? I mean, I'm doing the things and claiming that. And it took a couple of months. I mostly think I've claimed it. I don't know if I'm doing it, but I've claimed it. So we'll see. Yes, Marianne.
Let us assume for a moment that which you suggested will happen, which is that Ann will find her own congregation.
Oh, I did not suggest that. I know. Yes. Yes, I will. I'll repeat it in just a second.
Certainly is deserving of getting her own congregation. That will leave a clergy staff opening for you to fill. What would you look for other than another Ann Gillespie? Were you looking for such a person?
So the question is, on the horrendous occasion that Ann Gillespie decides to go get her own parish, for which she would be well prepared and well deserved, and we would be bereft, what would I look for in another clergy person? It is very important to me that large churches, and it's funny because I've had people ask me, well, we're not a large church. We actually are. In the Episcopal scheme, Christ Church is a large church. We count as a big church. It's really important to me that some of these large powerhouse churches, all of them, should be working to raise up young clergy. This is different from the Young Priests Initiative that we used to run here. I think that was actually a really cool program. But slightly different from that, I think it would behoove us to have some kind of curacy position, and in church speak, that means a new priest, a freshly ordained, still has that new priest smell. Somebody that is on a contract for a certain number of years, 3 or 4 years, that we train to make into a phenomenal priest, like the phenomenal priests that have come out of this place in the past. So for a set period of time, they are with us. We teach them to do everything we know how to do, and then we send them into the world. It's like their seminary part 2. But meanwhile, they're ordained, so they're doing all this stuff. They're working, they're preaching, they're visiting, they're running committees, they're doing everything that we need them to do. So I don't know that that's exactly what you're asking for, but that's what I would like. I would like us to have a curacy, a younger priest that we're constantly rotating through, along with somebody who is, so if we have 3 priests, a rector, some kind of experienced, longtime Heatherish and Annish type person who's here with us, and then a curate who's constantly rotating through, but constantly over 4, they're here for 4 years, so they're not rotating every 6 months. They're here for 4 years. And that way we are becoming part of the machine that's launching good priests out into the church, because we can do that. We've got great formation ground here that we need to help the church take advantage of. Past that, while I would never, because I wouldn't want it to happen to me. I would not be interested in hiring a priest based on their demographic. I'm going to hire them based on their gifts. This place needs strong preachers that are willing to have strong voices. People that are, this place needs people that can sit with folks that are kind of figuring out various conflicts in the parish and will be non-anxious about that. People that will go out and visit and take people out with them. So those are skill sets that I will look for more than I will look for a demographic. Michael.
I just wanted to make a comment, not a question. First, I think you are super cool. Second,
Thank you.
And thirdly, since you brought it up,
Oh.
come and visit us at Bridge Club Tuesday night, 7 o'clock.
I'll have you know, Michael, I did visit Bridge Club a few weeks ago and you weren't there. I will, but I'm not going to play bridge. I am not that good. But I will definitely come and sit down and visit. Thank you. I'm happy to. I saw some other hands go up. Yes, John.
Well, you've touched on this, but what are your expectations for us, the congregation, in the next year?
We have to keep showing up. We have to keep showing up. There's this nasty rumor out there that the church is dying. And it's not evident here at Christ Church. I haven't seen any evidence of that. And we have to keep showing up. And we have to, particularly with the political climate. So the political climate, the way it is, could potentially continue, not even about politics, but about life in general. Those feelings could seep into a community and make us divisive as well over things that are or are not important. But we have to keep showing up. Even if we are not feeling love of neighbor, even if we're not feeling love of Rector, we have to keep coming because it's in the act of continuing to return and return and return again to our worship, to this place that we love, that we will figure out how to be better than the climate that's around us. And that we can leave this place and show the world that there's a better way to be. That's the way we counteract some of the divisiveness and the nastiness and the ugliness. Not by bringing it in, but by healing it in here and taking the goodness out. So that is the big thing that I expect of us, is that we keep showing up and maybe start showing up even more. You know, if you're a 2 times a month person, why not make it 3? If you're once a month, I'll take you for 2. But keep coming. And continuing to do something that I see that's so beautiful in this community, and that is having patience with each other individually, but having patience with the community in general as we figure out what we're doing next. Remembering that every person that walks in our doors, every person in this room right now has come in with some kind of burden that probably some other people in this room don't know about. And that if we respond kind of in that way, always in our interactions, no matter what the topic, we will create a level of compassion in this place that's going to override anything that we get frustrated about in the future. That's important. It's deeply important. And that's Christ-like as we move through the world. Gesticulating. Yes. Thank you, John. Rich.
Noelle, a few years ago, a school chaplain in Washington, his name was Steve Davenport, and he'd been involved in developing relations between his school in Northwest Washington and a school in Haiti. He tried to summarize what he'd learned, and he said, "We've learned that the shortest distance between Foxhall Road and Anacostia runs through Haiti."
Wow.
I that means, if you see his point and wonder whether there's a connection between our looking too far away and coming home with eyes that notice what's just around the corner.
Sure. So what I hear you asking about, Rich, is the relationships between our mission relationships that we have far away, and how they impact what we do close in as well, or
Yes.
whether, how and whether.
Yes.
Often, churches with international mission relationships will get the criticism both from inside the community and externally of, yeah, well, look across the street over there. Why are you spending all this money sending people to South Sudan, or sending money to South Sudan when we got this whole community over here that also needs our attention? So I'll start by saying that for me, this has never been an either or. So long as we have ministry to be a part of, our neighbors need to be the people that are in our city. They have to be the people that are in our city, and they have to be the people that are on the other side of the world. That's who neighbors are. That's what Christ calls us into. We've got to shrink the world, and we've got to better understand folks everywhere. So I had never heard that quote from the school chaplain. That's an interesting one, and I don't think that I've really looked at it that way before, and it probably requires me to have a little bit more thought. But I will say from personal experience, some of the most formative times, both theologically and socially, personally, the most formative times in my life are the times when I've had the opportunity to be in a place where I was profoundly the other. Wherever it is, whether it's in a neighborhood in LA or the bishop's compound in Myanmar. Those times have helped me understand what it must be like for someone in my own world, once I return back to it, to be the other in my world. Whether we are talking about African Americans who are entering neighborhoods where they are not the same, whether we are talking about our refugee brothers and sisters who come into this country having no language, no clothing, nowhere to go, those experiences when I put myself outside of my comfort zone dramatically and profoundly affect the way I see the other when I am with them in my own comfortable space. So Rich, I'm not sure that's exactly what you're getting at, but when I think of the ways that we have the opportunity to go abroad and be with people that want to be in relationship with us on the other side of the world, the experience for the individual that travels, I think, is very profound and helps us understand who we are in a different context. That's my initial thought. I have to think about it. I would have to think about the rest of it for a little bit longer. Okay. Jane.
You talked about wanting a curate for continuing on. Now, this was your first year. We didn't have a seminarian. Are we going to have a seminarian this year?
Yes, we are going to have a seminarian this year. Crystal Harden is going to start with us in 3 weeks, I think. We have also started in our Lookout in Rejoice, the monthly newsletter. We will have a column written by our seminarians, seminarians that we have sent, seminarians that are serving us, and some of the folks that we have in our midst that are looking at the ordination track, or on the ordination track. So we'll have lots of different perspectives from their voices to make sure that they kind of stay present with us. Remembering that a seminarian is somebody who's in school rather than someone who's already been ordained. So we'll see her a couple of hours a week, but she's a pistol. She's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to having her around. Any other questions? Here's your opportunity. I'm not back up here again for a while. Guys, I got work to do. Okay? You sure? All right. Thank you all.